Back. So today I'm doing the final algorithm on the JavaScript algorithms and data structures. This is the basic algorithm scripting. So this one's called Chunky Monkey, which essentially we want to write a function that splits an array, which is the first argument. So here we can see this array of strings into groups of length of the size, which here is the second argument, that's 2, and then just return them as a two-dimensional array. So essentially what it's asking, and actually we can see down here, we've got an array of A, B, C, D, and then 2 is passed in. So we want to return sort of chunks of this array in the size. So 2, so A and B, and then a second array, C and D, so on and so forth. We can see here that, yeah, when we've got 3, we want to do 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So this number is sort of how long or how many items in the sort of each array there should be. It looks to be even as well, so we don't need to sort of consider sort of, I guess, yeah, any edge cases or adding to the arrays to make sure they are, 2 or 3 in these instances. So let's just go on and go through this. And actually for this one, I found probably the simplest solution is to actually use a while loop, which I don't often use, but it's certainly good to learn. So yeah, you might have sort of solutions with for loops and if statements to check and push to a different array, but I'm going to use the while loop here because it's really quite a nice and short syntax. And sort of more than enough functionality for what we need here. So what I'm going to do is just create a new array that we're going to push to. So let chunky array equal an empty array. And then all we need to do is while, and we're going to do array.length. So this is obviously taking in the length of the array, which, let me just open this out. Console.log array.length. And we should be able to see, there we go, 4. It's creating an infinite loop because this is 4, and essentially you take in sort of a truthy or falsy value here. So obviously, so whilst it's truthy, whilst this is true, it's going to run this. And obviously there's nothing in here, it's not running, but so the number 4 is here because we've got 4 items in the array. So what we want to do is obviously go through this, take off the first 2, push them to the new array, and then go through to the next 2. So one way we can do that is obviously chunky array.push. We want to push array.splice position 0 and then size, because that's sort of where we're getting that from, right? So then obviously we want to return chunky array. So just for clarity, and if I move that up, we can see, chunky array, there we go. So you can see here now, at this point, array.length is 0, which is obviously a falsy value in JavaScript. So that will stop running, it will come out of the while loop, and then just return chunky array here, which we've then pushed sort of twice to, because of each of these values. So if I just wrap a console.log around this, like so, we should be able to see we've got our sort of nested array, and obviously there's 2 of them here. And at this point, array.length is 0. If I also put it at the top, we should see it as 4. And obviously it's going through this while loop. And the reason it's decreasing, and we're actually mutating the original array here, is because we're using the splice method, which takes out the characters or sort of whatever the values that you're selecting here. So we're selecting from 0 to size, which is 2, so over to here, so 0, 1, 2. So it's taking these 2 out of the actual array at that point, so the first time it goes through, because array.length here is 4, which is a truthy value, so it runs this code, so it puts A and B into chunky array, and then it goes through again, because array.length at this point would be 2, so it will run through again and put C and D in, and then at that point array.length is 0, so that's when it comes out of the while loop, and then we come down to here and it just returns chunky array. So that's how it works effectively. So you don't need sort of an iterator normally, or sort of other times, I guess, in while loops you might need to sort of, let's say, array minus minus to decrease it or increase it if you're sort of checking something up here if it's greater than or less than a particular value. But yeah, so if I take out sort of the white space, we can see just a couple of lines of code, and that hopefully if I run it now, it will pass all the tests. And there we go. So that's one solution to this. As I said, there's probably numerous solutions that you might be able to come up with. Let me know in the comment box below if you've got any sort of better solutions than the while loop, and certainly for this, yeah, be interested to see sort of what you might be able to come up with. And I guess this actually concludes the sort of basic algorithm scripting on freeCodecamp. So I'll be going through some of the other algorithms and sort of also have some plans for other content, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React as well, potentially, and Next.js, which I'm working with at the moment. So yeah, stay tuned for them and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.